If you are watching this video right now, then it is too late. You are already in the game.
Oh no! Holy shit!
Or more accurately, a game. Which game, you might ask? Well, that's more or less up to you because, like it or not, that's really the only choice that you have. Which game are you going to play?
I want to play a game.
Now, unlike many video games, you don't get to choose your character's default settings and attributes, nor your starting environment.
So that means I'm...
Wait, Bethany, don't!
No! I'm an overweight middle-aged man.
But you can choose what you are going to do with what you have, and you can choose how you will spend your energy, experience, and time points in order to build your character. Yes, I know that it is not an even playing field, and you can spend your energy and time points sitting around pouting and complaining about all that's not fair in the game if you choose to, but I would warn you that is a poor game strategy if your goal is to win. I also think that it is important to remember that if you are lucky enough to be watching this video in the 21st century in a first world society, then you can consider yourself a lottery winner. You are one of the lucky ones. Count yourself amongst the top 1% of humans who has ever played the game. I know personally for a fact that the games that my great-grandfather played as a slave in Mississippi were far worse than the games that I get to play. I think we would all do better to gratefully compare ourselves to the Hunger Games that most people in history died playing, instead of frustrating ourselves by comparing our lives to the tabletop games afforded by the modern 1% and sold to us on social media.
Wait a...
My earring's gone!
Are you
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry! My earring came off in the ocean and it's gone. And there's people that are dying.
Now, the way that the game works is that there is a main story mode as dictated by the current systems of society, which today looks like the pipeline of school to work to retirement. There is also another main game objective called species survival, which today can be generally summarized as dating, mating, and procreating. And outside of the main game objectives, there are an infinite number of side quests, items, pastimes, and things you can spend your time, energy, and money on. Basically, your default attributes multiplied by your choices of side quests will develop your character and skill set, which will either help you or hinder you in completing game objectives and ultimately win at life. Now, if you don't want to play the game in accordance with these default objectives, you don't have to, but another game will take its place whether you like it or not. And if you try to avoid playing at all, you will likely end up playing a game of apathy and addiction with an end game of mass destruction and or self-destruction. Resistance is futile and sacrifice is not optional. What I mean by that is you can only pick your poison because you are already drinking it. The sands of time are not waiting for you to pick up your controller. There is no pause button. For example, if you choose to sacrifice your free time to write a book like I did, it will cost you. It'll cost you hundreds of hours of relaxation or quality time with friends and family, or the time it would take to learn to do something else instead. So maybe, yeah, I could have had my purple belt in jiu-jitsu by now, or maybe I could have watched every show on Netflix by now, but I chose the side quest of becoming an author. And no matter what I chose, it was always going to be a sacrifice of something else.
I'm doing it! Your hand!
This is the balance. Demonstrated beautifully. Thank you, Fringilla. There is no conjuring something from nothing. There is a give and a take.
Yes, you have free will, but your will is not free from cost or consequence. Everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial, and you will reap what you sow. That is the game, and you are playing it right now. You could be doing countless other things for better or for worse, but right now you have chosen to sacrifice whatever that could have been in order to be here right now watching this video, which I greatly appreciate, and I hope all of my yapping will have a positive return on investment for you. So I used to play a lot of video games, and I find that life, just like in an expansive open world sandbox style video game, even though there are main objectives or bosses to defeat in order to complete the game, you can also choose to do all types of other side quests along the way. And these side quests play a major role in building your character and community, unlocking new skills and items and allies, all of which are incremental and vital in having greater success in the game. For example, you could choose to go to the gym to increase your strength, stamina, and discipline and mental health. Yes, it will cost you time, effort, and money, but the return on your investment might just be worth it. Hate it or love it, if you are physically fit, you will receive more opportunities, attention, and respect in the game. This is what current online pop culture has been calling looks maxing, which essentially means maxing out the attribute of how you look.
Who's that handsome guy? Hello, 911 emergency. There's a handsome guy in my house. Oh, wait a second, cancel that. It's only me. Oh, you drive me wild.
Which does have major positive impacts on gameplay results. If you are attractive, you will literally go for jail for far less time for the same crime as someone who is unfit and unattractive. I don't make the rules, so if you're mad, you are welcome to stay mad. But, hear me out, but just like in a video game, even if your character looks cool and owns high-level items, yes, at first people might be drawn to you and think that you are better at the game than you actually are, which can gain you access to exclusive servers. But if it is all just cosplay and you spent everything you had on looks and not much else, then you are like a Bugatti with no engine. Nice to look at, nice to take pictures with, to sit inside of, and play pretend to the public with, but completely useless in any real gameplay scenario. Such players will depend heavily on manipulating others to carry them through the game. But the second anyone sees what's really under the hood, only losers will stick around for the pictures and keep playing pretend, because no winners will be riding with that fake shit. Having a weak link like that on your team is nothing more than a liability.
If your appearance is your largest asset, you're gonna do some whole shit.
And unfortunately, I believe that social media is a platform that has fueled a massive spike in such fake players. All of these bots who only look like they are good at the game on the outside. To backpack off of that idea, should average players envy the players who spawned at level 99 in all stats and attributes and with an inventory full of all the best items in the game? Maybe, maybe not.
I hate this game.
I think it is an interesting concept to think about, you know, like people who have it all often struggle to find meaning or purpose in their game. Yes, they can do whatever they want, explore the whole map at will, and the rules don't seem to apply to them the same. It's like they have access to all the hacks and cheat codes. But if you have all of that, don't you think after a while, what's the point in playing? Wouldn't the fun start to get old quick? What's really left for such players to pursue? What games will they choose to play? A Game of Thrones? Games of hedonism and power?
Taking more than you need is, even as you announce it in the algebra of language, a form of psychopathy. Being extremely rich is thus, at least for some, a constant psychological tug of war. It's not that the wealthy are oppressed by capitalism, but rather that they are captive to it like everybody else. And as the biggest beneficiaries of our hierarchical economic system, they are often given a bird's eye view of its depredations. One of the things I've been granted by my own limited experiences of fame and fortune is that it is dumb, empty, inane, I have announced my apostasy many times. Celebrity can't fulfill you. It's a peculiar religion. Wealth, privilege, these are odd ideologies and they embed themselves in you. It's so difficult to free yourself from the toxicity of it once you've experienced it. I'm not asking for sympathy. Of course I'm not. I'm describing a situation.
Or what if a player's game is set to easy mode from the beginning? Wouldn't such players struggle to ever get genuinely good at the game or find any true fulfillment or passion in playing, since there's no real challenge or responsibility involved? So unless they actively and intentionally go against human nature itself and choose to turn up the difficulty and place themselves in unnecessary positions of risk and discomfort, nothing will ever change. I honestly have a level of admiration for the players who never have to lift a finger but still choose to. That to me shows a level of character and gameplay that is extremely rare, since most people, if given the opportunity, would 100% put down their controller if they could have their cake and to eat it too, with both hands. Most people only want to get ahead so they can slow down. Think about that. When you get stronger, you're supposed to lift more weight, not less. That is the difference in mentality between a winner and a loser. Idealistically, greater power should beget greater responsibility. But what we usually see is that greater power only leads to greater irresponsibility and abuse of said power.
Okay, see this palace? Everyone in it is at my command. Check this out. The butler, chef, theme song guy.
Oh yeah! There are so many tangents that I could go on about this whole concept, but I like to keep my videos relatively short to limit my rambling. So let me bring it back, because at the end of the day, how you choose to spend your limited time, energy, and resources will determine your fate. If you spend the majority of your time, energy, and resources on things that steal from you or things that do not build your character, then that is how you are choosing to play the game that you are choosing to play. Do you spend hours of your game every day watching other people play their game through social media or sports or reality TV? Do you spend your resources on things that place you in bad debt and further erode your resources rather than assets that have a return on your investment? Do you spend your energy on things and people who are destroying and stealing from you, or do you choose to align with people and habits that build you up and bring you health and stability and more energy? It is all a game. So the question is, how are you choosing to play the game that you are choosing to play? Yes, you may not want to play a game, but that is not an option unless you choose to rage quit, which is a very real and serious thing, especially for men, in part because there is a far greater expectation on men to be successful at the game.
A man should provide for his household, and that is the bottom line. So a man who doesn't provide for his own household is worse than an unbeliever.
And if you are one of the players who is struggling with wanting to quit, man or woman, please reach out and talk to someone, because I promise you, you are not as alone as you think you are. I've been thinking about this life as a game concept for a while now, and I feel like I find a new rabbit trail every time that I sit with it, which is kind of how even this video felt while talking about it. So I imagine it will inspire some future videos, but in the meantime, I'd love to hear what you think. So hit me up in the comments if you found it as interesting as I do, or if you think that I'm simply reinventing another unnecessary wheel and I should just keep it rolling.